Look, I'm gonna put this in the DM right
No.
Pre-order $20 subscription. You gotta.
Yeah, now we good. They can keep that. They can keep the Switch too. I'm good.
Wait,
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. That
they're advertising a pre-order of a
Hey.
subscription card.
Yeah.
Wow. Look, all
Apparently
I can
so.
tell you is
At Amazon.
if it wasn't for the 4 games I have now, I probably wouldn't own a Switch because I own the 4 games that I really like for it. You know, the Zelda, the Mario, the Mario Rabbids, and the Octopath. And they're keeping me busy, but geez, man.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Even with those 4 games, if they told me
it's still a hard buy.
It is still a hard buy, man.
It
like
is.
you got to be a Nintendo fan for that to be worth it for you.
Exactly. Because I'm not gonna lie. At this point, if I had to pick between if I didn't have a Switch or an Xbox, I would probably still maybe buy an Xbox just because I play more on my TV than anything. So, but I bought a Switch for Mario.
I feel you.
Because it had that bundle.
Yeah, that was last fall, right?
Yeah.
And back in October, yeah.
I think that was the best time to buy a Switch was when Mario came out. Because if you didn't have a Switch, you could buy yours. But Nintendo games do not drop in price.
No, man. That's why I buy them all physically.
I buy everything exactly.
Just look at the Wii U. Donkey Kong Freeze was like $59.99, and that console was getting wrecked, man.
Yep.
That's ridiculous.
And I'm talking about like a year after the game came out. That thing was still
you're
full
right.
price.
You're right. It's still. If you can get in the Wii U store now, that game is still full price. And I'm like, come on, man, this console is done, and y'all still charge it. Nintendo does not drop the prices on their games, and when they eventually do, their console's obsolete. Their console's obsolete, and then their game is still $29.99, and it's called, I think, what is it called? Player's Choice or something? Greatest Hit? No, Greatest Hit I think is Sony. I think Player's Choice is Nintendo's, and Microsoft's is something. They all got their
platinum. They used to be platinum.
I mean, look, when the Switch came out, the Wii U only went down $49.
That's $49.
It went $49, like $50 is all they took off.
Look, Nintendo could have just dropped that joker down to like $99 and probably got rid of a whole bunch of them. But they're just that company. They're like, we're not going to lose money.
You know what, man? They could keep the whole thing. Just don't come out with nothing. I'm good. They can keep the whole thing.
But we live already, though.
Oh, we live.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Nice.
We is live.
Yo, all right. We live? We doing it live. What's up, everybody?
What's up, Next Gen?
What's going on, good brother?
What up?
Good, man.
All right, shout out to the chat. Please let this thing grow. What's up? It's Play Xbox episode 53. As promised, I told you guys Next Gen 720 will be on this episode, but I think people think I was bullshit. But it's happened. What's up, Next Gen? How you doing?
I'm good, brother. Thank you for having me, man. It's a blessing.
All right, you just got finished being live, right?
Sure did. I'm the hardest working man in showbiz, man.
I see.
There it is.
I don't know about Addict's whereabouts, but hopefully he'll appear sometime today.
Yeah, he's got a date.
Otherwise, I mean, how you doing, Frog?
Hey, man, I'm good, man. I'm happy to be here, man. I'm ready to get into it. I'm happy to be here. Love it.
And Merc, what's up?
Yo, we back in here, man. Another episode. Looking forward to getting to these topics. And man, we'll chop it up.
Okay. Grants my gears.
Yo. What's up? It's Gen720. I'm ready to go.
All right. So we got a show. I couldn't think of a title, so I just named it after one of the topics we're going to talk about. A couple things happened throughout the week. I know Grinds My Gears had like a tweet that kind of made me raise an eyebrow. I was like, save this for tonight. I want to hear your explanation behind this. But what games I turned on Dante's Inferno for the first time today. Never played it. Yeah.
That game is freaking, man, that's the best thing next to God of War as far as for its time, man.
Yeah.
I almost platinum that game. That game is cool.
Yeah. Cool.
That's the one. That game's like Bayonetta, right? If I'm not mistaken.
No, it's
like Devil May Cry.
It's like a Devil May Cry.
Okay, it's a God of War clone almost, basically.
Got you.
And it actually has a good story. It actually has a
Yeah,
it's
the
like
game-
what, the 7 levels to hell or something you have to go
Yes,
through. Like, yeah,
yes.
go down through all the different levels of hell.
Yeah,
Wow,
that
I
game's
can't
kind of freaky,
believe-
dude.
Oh yeah, man.
Oh man, you
They
ain't
got
seen
the
nothing yet.
boobies in
Wait.
that game. I remember that was a big deal.
Nah, they
Nah,
got more than boobies in that game.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
Yeah, they got
the
there's Big
concept
Johnsons
of
in that
it-
game too.
Yeah, the concept of the game
Yes,
like trips me
Johnson.
the fuck out, dude.
Johnson,
Like,
Johnson.
trips me out. Like the concept, like once you get into like like hell and shit like that, it's like I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I should be playing this. But yeah, it's on EA Access and it's backwards compatible. So it was the first time I got to play it, and I'm like, and I like I started playing, and I found myself like drowned into it. Like a couple hours in, I'm like, man, I actually like that shit. I mean, it definitely aged, like, you know what I mean? It doesn't look that great nowadays, but it could definitely use an enhancement. But
Yeah.
I'll let you guys know
They can definitely use a sequel. That was a good game.
Yeah, exactly. See,
Who made
who
made that
thank
game?
you. Yes.
It must have been
Yes.
Visceral.
Visceral made
It
it.
was Visceral. Yes.
Yeah.
Visceral can
Yeah.
make good games, man.
Yeah,
They
that was.
going back.
You know what? It's actually, I don't know if I'm a history buff, but Dante's Inferno, like the story, Purgatory, Hell, like it was ill.
Yes.
It's a good game. It's a good game.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know
that
if
was
you beat.
pretty
I'm
awesome.
not
It
gonna
had
say
a
the
good
ending,
story.
but yeah.
As a matter of fact, I think it was supposed to be a trilogy, but I think after the first game, they just stopped.
I don't know what the first game did, but it's crazy because I played that and then went to God of War. You know, what I mean, my wife don't normally watch me play the game, but she watched me play through Dante's Inferno. Then I went straight to God of War 3, and like the end, you fight the devil, got his dick out. And shit.
Yes.
See, I wasn't gonna say it. I wasn't gonna say it.
Literally,
Hey, literally a huge, gigantic. Oh man, it's bad.
yeah, for
It's
real.
bad.
Yeah, and that studio doesn't exist no more, doesn't it?
No,
Right?
it's not.
No, it does not. It
Visceral got
closed
shut down. Yeah, Visceral got shut down.
It's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
That's definitely a franchise I would like to see come back. I would not mind to see that coming back.
It was a good game. Something
Yeah.
different. Spin on it. Was like I said, it was something different. I mean, the hack and slash stuff been done before, but just the story. It was a good game though. It was a good game though. Ray. I guess for that time, what year did it came out? Like what?
2010.
2010, I think.
Yeah. For
About
that time,
2010.
it was kind of like cutting edge, like the graphics. It was
Yes.
kind of gory as all hell. It was
Mhm.
dope.
That's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
SEO clerks. That shit is a Dollar Tree Devil May Cry.
Dollar Tree Devil May Cry.
Nah, actually, I like it better than
I don't know
Devil May
about
Cry.
that. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
It's a good
this
game,
was
man.
funny though. This was
They had
funny.
a whole comic book and everything with it. It was actually a good game. It wasn't a bad story.
Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, I mean, it plays pretty well. I like it. But other than that, I mean, next gen, what you been playing other than Fight Night?
Fight Night, Tekken, Mortal Kombat, of course, Gears. I got to get back on my pony tip. I got to go back to Yakuza and Bloodborne. I think you beat Bloodborne, right?
Yeah.
I was waiting till I got a monitor, but I'm probably hook my shit back up to date, my PS4, and finish some of that stuff over there. But that's basically about it. What I've been playing. It's a little dry in these streets. I ain't fuck with No Man's Sky just came out, right? I ain't buying that.
Mm-hmm.
No, thank you. I wasn't interested in that. You know what I mean? When it was out then. You know what I mean? So I'll be skipping that. I don't know what's the next game we got. This is going to come out soon or releasing.
The next
before
big
Spider-Man.
title-
Spider-Man, right?
I think Spider-Man. I want to say Spider-Man.
Spider-Man? Was that September?
September.
Spider-Man and Tomb Raider.
Yeah, Tomb Raider.
Oh, 2 days in September too?
Yeah, September the week
Yeah.
after.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I gotta finish.
R.I.P.
Never
Tomb
come out.
Raider.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Tomb Raider, yeah.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
R.I.P. to
Sorry.
Tomb. Why is it R.I.P. Tomb Raider?
I don't know,
think
man.
that game-
I don't see
Hey,
any,
man.
I don't see no hype around it, man. Like, there's no
That
hype like,
game-
around Tomb Raider. Like, no one's talking about
That
Tomb
game
Raider.
is going to score well. It's going to score well, but I don't think it's going to sell well.
I'm going to buy
It's going to
it.
have another. It's going to be another Titanfall 2 situation with that game. It's going to get good scores. But it's not going to sell well because of the game surrounding it. I just think it's in a bad
What's
position.
surrounding?
Well, wait. You mean sell well from a multi-plat perspective, right? Like what you would expect Tomb Raider to sell.
What you would
That's what I'm
expect
trying
it
to
to sell. I don't think it's going to sell as well as they think it's going to sell. I think it's going to score well, but I think that when you're putting it in a, like, you're throwing it in a stack of games, it's coming out, and like once September comes,
stack
the
of
games
games-
just start coming. The
What's
games
coming out in
just start coming.
September other than Spider-Man and the sports games?
You
Yeah,
got
I'll look for you. Because you got to remember, Call of Duty and Battlefield got moved up this year. They usually
but not
release
October.
later in the year. Right.
I was about to tell Smooth again. Madden dropping on PC. It's over, man.
That's August. That's August.
It is August. It is August.
Yeah,
It
wait
drops
for
in 2
that
weeks.
Turducken hack.
It drops in
I
2
got
weeks.
you.
I mean, I thought September was stacked, but then they delayed the most anticipated games I was looking for. Other than Tomb Raider, I was looking for Code Vein, but they pushed that back. And
that was a good.
Forza Horizon is early October, unless you spend $100, then you get it at like the last day of September or something like that. And I think otherwise, I'm trying to think what else is in.
I'm checking.
Okay, so let's see.
I'm pulling it up right now.
So September, because August has a couple games, but let's see. So you got.
I'm only gonna be playing like 3 games in September. It's gonna be NBA Live, Tomb Raider.
You got Dragon Quest, which I don't think that's gonna sell big, even though it's gonna be a good game. I don't think it's gonna sell big. You got the Destiny Forsaken DLC, which, believe it or not, that thing is gonna sell. That's gonna move some numbers. You got Spider-Man. You got NBA Live coming out on the same day.
NBA 2K.
Then you got 2K. Then after that, you got Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And right after that, you got NHL Hockey, the Spiral Trilogy. You got Valkyria Chronicles, that Dragon Ball Z game for the Switch. But I think the reason I said that is because, like, when you look at what's coming, right? Because like September and then you see October, like September, October, November, they're so close at the beginning. When you start seeing like the Call of Duties at the beginning, almost the beginning, middle-ish of October, I think people are going to say, hold on, I can buy this game or this game or this game or this game. Some people are going to hold out and they're going to wait for that game to go on sale. And
I don't think anybody's going to skip the month of September. I Call of Duty.
I think when you look at September, the biggest game is still going to be Spider-Man. I mean,
on one platform.
But it doesn't matter. It
does matter because there's 3 other platforms that people are playing on.
I'm pretty sure that Spider-Man will outsell Tomb Raider on this multi.
I think the marketing for Spider-Man will overshadow Tomb Raider.
Exactly.
You know what? Just said it correctly. That's exactly what it is. It's the marketing.
And I think that Spider-Man is going to outsell that one game on one system will outsell Tomb Raider. This multiplayer. I think it will.
How much you got to war sell week 1? How much you got to war sell?
Oh my God. That game's oh my God. Let me look at it. It was big.
It was big. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was 5 million week 1.
I want to say it was like 5. I want to say the 4 or 5. Yeah. So I'm thinking Spider-Man's gonna do big numbers. It's gonna kill Tomb Raider. And I'm not saying Tomb Raider's not gonna be a good game, but what I'm saying is I think that game is gonna get overshadowed, kind of like a Titanfall, which was a good game. Titanfall 2. It's gonna get overshadowed, and people are just moving right to that. They're gonna move right into that next month with the Call of Duties and the Battlefield, and then
see the thing is the difference between Titanfall and it was sandwiched between Battlefield and Call of Duty.
Yeah, it was literally
big multi-plats and all well known.
God of War was 5 million in 28 days.
Gosh, in 28 days.
Yeah, Halo Storm. A couple people in the chat posted it.
Yeah, I expect that game to do big numbers. I really do expect Spider-Man.
You expect Spider-Man to be better than God of War?
Hell yeah.
Yes. I would say yes.
I didn't think so. I didn't think so.
No Spider-Man than God of War.
Exactly. I mean,
I think that console's gonna really.
That console's gonna fly off the shelf. Between that Pro and the Slim version, it's gonna fly off the shelf.
Spider-Man's the most popular character,
isn't it? Xbox still has,
and there hasn't been a Spider-Man game in a long time,
right? And I think the Xbox still has the best exclusive design consoles. Out, you know, if you're talking about all the brands, like Microsoft has done amazing consoles from the 360. Even in this generation, they had some good-looking consoles, but I don't even think it's going to just sell just because, oh, look, it's a Spider-Man, it's a red console. I think it's just because Spider-Man is a big name. People know Spider-Man. That game's going to pull numbers. The only way that game doesn't pull numbers is if it has a lot of problems and is broken.
Question for you, Frog. You think has Spider-Man shown you enough to tell you that it's going to be a good game, or you're not convinced yet?
I'll say I think it's going to be a solid B game. I wouldn't expect anything from a B, which I guess is an 8.
I can't believe how many villains they got in the game.
Yeah, because I think there's going to be more stuff.
I
think there's going to be more stuff we don't know about, like villains, like he was saying. I think there's just a lot of stuff we don't know about, but I think it's going to be a solid B game.
You said a B? I was like an A+, but that motherfucker looks sick.
I mean, the reason I'm saying, look, I agree with that, but the reason I'm saying B is I'm putting it in that level of things. Everything can go wrong, you know. But I just think that right now, from what I've seen, it's something I'm really eager to play.
I got a question. For what we've seen so far, what you said looks better than God of War? What we've seen this far.
Ooh.
Visually speaking, no.
Visually, no. Visually, no. But as far as I'm a huge fan of the Batman game, so in that aspect, damn, like I really love Batman. So
like the cutscenes and stuff look decent, like the character animations, but
you
God
can
of War
still
was
tell it's
incredible.
animated, right? Yeah, God of War looks.
No,
oh,
God
man,
of War was
Okay, I give God of War story wise, right? I'm a huge God of War fan. I think God of War story. Even though I still don't know what happened to the mother, but you know it was ill, epic, right?
I agree. I agree.
But when you pull back the layers, right? Of course, the God of War, I guess, gets everybody when it comes on the first boss battle. But you know, more or less the stranger.
Yes, the stranger.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's a lot of key stuff that was. They said, I thought you guys would be bigger. Talking about the gods of the old. I thought you guys would be stronger, like the legends of Zeus and all these people back then, right? And you had their first epic fight at the beginning, but there's not really a lot of boss battles and more or less in God of War. Great game, loved it.
Right.
I mean, that's probably the best battle in the entire game.
That it was very, very impressive.
The first one was ill. I didn't know Kratos was that goddamn strong when he threw that mouth and he broke that shit.
That was the whole thing.
That
That was an
was
amazing way to show what powers he had, because they were real subtle in the beginning. Like you didn't know what powers he had.
Yeah, I didn't know he was that strong. I mean, you think about Kratos, of course he's the god of war, but I didn't know he was that goddamn strong when he threw that mouth and he broke that bitch with his shield. I'm like, God damn!
Oh my God,
boy,
that was incredible.
I guess what I would say is because like being that it's a Spider-Man universe, and I don't know if they've said it or not, if they're going to include any other characters from, because we know it's Spider-Man, but are there going to be any special appearances from anybody else in Marvel? I don't know if they said yes or no. Like good guys, not bad guys, but good guys. Like will Black Panther show up with Iron Man?
Nah,
you see what I'm saying?
They might have some of the other. I don't think they're gonna have like other superheroes like
Spider-Man,
that. Spider-Man.
I think they said Venom's not going to be in it, right? They confirmed that.
Thank God, Jesus.
I don't know.
I want Carnage. I definitely will see Carnage, but
I mean, this is
that's gonna happen too.
The first of the series. But here's the thing: I know this would be the first Spider-Man that we got that has really nothing to tie into with a movie. True AAA budget. You know what I mean? And you had the ones from Activision's, they're cool, but this is something totally on another level, on a wholly different scale. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And again, like I said, you had what really I was already sold on the game, but you had the jail sequence. You know what I mean? When he was, and that kind of reminded me of Batman. You jumping between the enemies and fighting from character to character. But overall, it looks awesome, man. You got the new suits and shit.
I think the biggest thing is that it's not tied into a movie. They could go anywhere with it.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Because the Batmans are like that too. Like they weren't tied into any movie release where you have to have you have to have a certain enemy in it. It has to follow the movie storyline. Yeah, this is like independent of that. It's going to be really, and I just think the marketing is really going to just dominate. The marketing Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider is going to be trying to like get in there, and it's the third one, and again it's not really a continuation story. And I think I said before, like the issue that Tomb Raider has is that it's really not like it's just gonna be kind of more of the same, just in a different location, kind of Assassin's Creed style. Like it's not going to be like it's not the story of like a trilogy of that's going on. They're trying to make it that way, but again it's just another Lara Croft adventure somewhere else, and and it doesn't. I think the marketing is going to be kind of tough with Spider-Man going on.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a bad game. I think Tomb Raider is going to be a good game.
I think it's going to be a solid game. I just think it's going to be kind of samey, maybe a little more epic. But again, I think it's going to be kind of similar to the other ones. Like
I think we're looking at the sales of the holiday. That's not going to be a game you're going to be looking at and saying, "Yeah, this game blew people away in sales expectation." Score-wise, yes. I just don't think that sales-wise, I think it's going to have a hard time selling because people are going to be so focused on Spider-Man. And you know what? I heard somebody say this today. People are going to go in the store and they're going to think they can get it because a lot of people, you got to think the casuals on the market, a lot of people are going to go in the store on their Xbox One. They're going to hey, I want that Spider-Man game. It's only on PlayStation. And they're going to be like, damn, it's only on PlayStation. And then when is it coming to Xbox? Oh, it's never coming to Xbox. Some people may pay $199 when Sony drops that price. We know they're going to do it. They do it every holiday for their PS4 Slim. I just think that game has legs, and I think that the games coming after it have bigger legs than Tomb Raider. The Call of Duty, the Battlefields, the Fallouts, the Smash Brothers. I think it has bigger legs. So I think it's kind of a hard game that's really sell in that time period. It would have been good to sell that game earlier.
Well, you talking about? You talking about far as soon? What's going to sell? Initially, probably going to do bigger numbers on the box because the Xbox doesn't have any other game.
Right. Xbox, I think, is going to do okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to do okay on all platforms, but probably the initially sales for the first week or 2 weeks probably do better on the X because there's, they don't have an exclusive at the time. When was Forza come out? When October?
October.
Yeah,
October. And that's going to do well, regardless. Forza always does. Yeah, Forza
has legs.
Always does well.
On your own.
Yeah, it has legs. Yeah.
Sells on your own. Now, again, if Microsoft was smart, I think Forza Horizon 3 set the mold. I ain't gonna lie, the way that they handled it, I'm not big into car games, but the way that they handled it with the racetrack, what do you call it? The Hot Wheels shit. I thought that was awesome.
Right. That was genius.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, because if Microsoft was smart, and I guess it was one thing we can, to me, not to me, but that they kind of went away from this generation of the theme consoles. And when you see Sony firing up on all, so like you should have a Forza Horizon 4 theme X or something.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they're going to announce it probably at Gamescom because they are going to tease a bundle. I bet you that over there.
Not just a bundle, but a theme console.
Well, they need one.
Well, he's talking about like when they you remember back in they did a Halo theme and like when you turn the Xbox One X on it. I mean,
they did a Halo one, they did a Forza one.
They do for an
sound.
The last theme console they did was Gears, right? That's the last theme console.
They need the X custom console, Forza Horizon for like custom console, something like that.
That would be cool. Like the race car sounds when it starts.
Yeah, they had the Forza bundle. Was it 5?
Forza 6.
Forza 6 got the blue one.
Yeah, the blue one. Forza 6 got the blue one. That was probably the nicest. Right. Like original Xbox One that came out.
Well, that controls like that one, and then the white one that was sold only at GameStop had the grips on it.
That's
the controls that had the grips on it.
The trend of putting the grip on the controller.
That was the first one.
Right. Yep. I mean, I think that I've always thought that Microsoft, especially last generation, did better custom consoles than Sony. I've always thought that this generation, Sony, I think, has more, but I don't think it's appealing.
This generation, really, they wouldn't.
I mean, they did the Batman, they did the.
No, I'm talking about Microsoft. They didn't.
Oh no, Microsoft hasn't done many.
They didn't do anything. Here's the thing, and
they did.
Not really, bro.
Not when you compare it to last gen.
No, last gen
you said
big ones.
Last gen 360 had the best custom console, the most custom
Star Wars one.
Yeah, but this gen Sony's done more custom consoles.
No. I'm not saying they did more, but they did do custom like consoles.
They've done a couple, but not to the level like
they're part of sweepstakes and stuff.
No. I'm talking about the retail ones. They had the Halo 5 one.
They had a Forza one, the blue one.
They had the Forza one. They had the Battlefield.
They had the Advanced Warfare.
They had Advanced Warfare one. And they had Gears, that bloody Gears one, that red Gears one for the S.
That's the nicest one, bro.
All right,
they had like the etching in it.
Wait, they had a green one for Battlefield. Okay, all right, green one for Battlefield.
It was just
2 years ago. They had one for Gears.
Like they had a blue one. They had a solid blue one for Gears.
They had a blue one for Forza. They made a race car.
Yeah, they made that race car sound.
Yep. They did one for Call of Duty, and they did one for fucking Halo.
Wait, did 5. we count the Quantum Break one? It was all white or no?
No, that was just a white color.
No, that was
okay. I'm just wondering.
And that teal blue one they did for Gears was exclusive to GameStop and the Microsoft store.
Exactly. Only.
They got the Minecraft one. That was
the Minecraft one. That's right.
With last year, I'm just saying they really didn't do any compared to what Sony. Like if Microsoft had the marketing deals, I'll give you an example. Microsoft had the marketing deals for like the Division. You didn't get any exclusive content, no team content.
That would have been dope. Witcher 3 they had.
You get no exclusive content. That's the difference. This generation, Microsoft totally went away from doing exclusive content with Sony fucking, and you got to feel like someone he doesn't think is right for gamers. What the fuck? Your concern isn't about other gamers across the street. Your concern should be about Xbox gamers and and the benefit for us. We're here Sony again doing their third party deals, doing theme console. What gamers like? We like nerds. We like to go out and get the geeky shit. I pre-ordered Spider-Man Sport. They didn't do any of that shit. Really. I mean, they did a few. This generation, because like I said, compared to the shit, Sony gave us a Street Fighter goddamn theme console.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that one.
Star Wars. They did some Batman,
Black Ops 3,
the 20th anniversary, 20th edition. Like they did so many. Again, they just sold just on the strength of that alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I would say consoles were ugly though. A lot of them were ugly. Like
Yeah,
that's
we know.
It's
Black
still
Ops
different.
is.
It's they're ugly, but they're still different. But the thing is how many controls does Microsoft release? I think that they go with just colors like midnight blue, army gold, like army green. I'm like, make them for the games, and the ones that they make for the games, they put them in sweepstakes. I remember I was going to PAX. I see this glass case, and I'm like, holy shit, look at those controls. They're like, oh, take a picture of it and tweet it. You might win one. I'm like, I can't buy the fucking things.
No,
Like,
the state of the Sea of
sweepstakes.
Thieves controller was a really nice controller. That was
it's better. It's better than the actual game.
They had tons. And it had a dock for it too, so it's like you don't have to play the game. You just put it on the dock.
That was a nice
just
controller,
leave it there.
man. That's a nice
It was.
controller.
That
The
was
controller's
where
awesome.
was the custom console to go with that controller?
Exactly.
I agree.
I actually think a custom console would have been really
Come
cool.
on,
man.
man.
Yeah. That Cuphead one they didn't sell to the public was nice also.
Wait, wasn't it
the
yellow
one?
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
It
They
looked
didn't
real
sell
nice.
it in stores.
Sweepstakes.
That was really nice.
Take a picture of your ass and post it on Twitter, and you might win it. Like, what the
I mean, man, custom console sale. Just look how many people on Twitter they have a PS4 Pro, but they want a Spider-Man, like the limited edition
yeah,
with a fresh coat of paint on it. You know what I mean? Because it looks nice, and
You
like
don't
Nick
need it.
said, we're nerds, bro. We're gonna go out and buy it. It is what it is.
yeah. It's marketing 101.
Facts.
It's different.
Shoot, I bought the Nathan Drake console. I can't lie.
Nathan
Destiny console.
I got the Star
and
Wars
God of War
one.
console.
Dude, just look at how many PS4s and Xboxes I've bought this gen, bought and sold, and bought and sold, and bought and sold.
I don't know if I'll do that again. I mean, I've had like
I was worse than you.
Wait, Smooth, don't you have a custom PS4 console, the Batman? Because I heard you talking about it.
I
That was a
had
nice
it.
console.
That was a while
Man,
ago. Yeah.
Yes, that's a nice.
I had the Batman one and I had the Star Wars one, the Darth Vader one. That's
What you doing?
Batman
the Darth
one is
Vader sticker.
nice.
yes. I sold them.
Damn.
Yeah.
I got the Star Wars,
Damn.
the PS4
So
Pro
what?
Star Wars.
Yeah, that's when I got it.
I think I don't know. I think
Yeah, that's what my
the
wife
last one I
has, Star
had
Wars.
was the Star Wars one, and
You
I
just
think
sold it to sell it? Would you sold it for a half a stick of
sold it for I probably sold it for the I think I sold it probably for the Pro or something. I don't know. I don't know what I did with one of them. I know the Batman one I ended up selling to one of my coworkers at the time. He was looking for a PlayStation, and so I sold him my Batman one. The Star Wars one. Matter of fact,
Oh, that Black Panther one, the Cat Daddy was talking about.
Oh
that.
man, look, dude,
You can't buy it.
Look, if Xbox did a Black Panther Xbox
They
console,
did do
I'd
it, but you couldn't
I'd
buy
it.
that
Day
so
one.
quick.
You couldn't.
Day
you can only win it.
That's
Yeah,
that,
you
but that's
go
the
to win
problem.
it.
Like, if I could buy that console, I would buy it day one. I would buy it.
It has to do something with licensing. I guarantee you that's what it is.
It
No,
does,
it has
it
to do
does.
with them being cheap.
Yeah, of course.
How's it cheap?
Dropping that money to get the license to be able
How's
to
it
mass produce
cheap?
that.
How is it cheap to not?
It's
Like-
because they don't probably want to make a whole bunch of them and cost them money. So they're gonna say, "Here's
Yeah.
Oh,
midnight."
it does cost some money, but shit,
Yeah.
you know how many people will buy a Black Panther
Yeah, with
Xbox?
listen, they can
X.
upload that bitch with the movie, or I mean, like,
Oh
they ain't
my
got no
gosh,
goddamn
I
games.
would buy that.
They ain't got no games
yeah.
right now.
Just
That's
bundle
And they
with the
could pack-
4K movie.
Yeah, and next gen they could pack it with the exclusive 4K movie.
yeah, it's behind the scenes.
Yeah, but you know people would buy it. People would buy.
Oh
it.
yeah, hell yeah. I mean, this on the strength, you know what I mean? I listen. That's one thing I give Sony credit for is that they do a better job at marketing what they got, what they have. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you know what I mean? Whether it's 1080p at the time makes you a better gamer, and right now you're the only console out there with a 4K Blu-ray player, right? Avengers is what's probably be the biggest movie of the holiday season. Probably
Yeah.
Avengers.
It comes out in October.
Infinity War. Yeah, that's gonna be
you
huge.
fucking do an Infinity War goddamn theme console. Put the
Oh my
goddamn
gosh.
movie in that motherfucker, and you know whatever. I mean, because you ain't got no goddamn games. But you know that would be fucking huge. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I would buy
agree.
one just for that. You know what I mean? Just,
I agree.
Just being the geek and the nerd that I am, just to have it. Oh, I got the Infinity Wards. You know, Xbox. Like, come on. Game was, movie. But here's the thing: what happened with that? The same thing's gonna happen with Spider-Man. The same thing happened with that Star Wars bundle. You will have people that are non-gamers or just huge Marvel fans who
Yep.
Right.
and buy
Crosses the line. Yeah.
you know, and to buy the console just to have it put in the entertainment center. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's what's gonna happen with
Okay.
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'll sell it 2-1. But again, I it's me like just I don't know, but this regime or whatever. Microsoft has up to me have been a day late and $1 too short. Like you look, the PUBG thing was huge, right? at the time.
Right.
Now you had the 60 frame thing. After the developer, the dev said that it could be 60. They got up to 45 frames in 2 weeks. This is what they said. Start the game launch. It was 30 on both the X and the what's called. Now I don't know when Microsoft held it back. Whatever the case may be, right? But you see, you see Fortnite gaining momentum, being a behemoth that they are. Go out there and do a deal. Get a fucking Fortnite bundle. Make a Fortnite thing. Goddamn counts. Fortnite is every goddamn where. You know what I mean? It's just to me like they've been very I don't know, not in the loop. Like to me,
they're disconnected with their consumer.
Yeah, here's the thing. Even with the Minecraft bundle, listen, I bullshit you now. My dog shit channel, right? I've been saying for years, Microsoft, where the fuck is your Minecraft theme console?
Man,
I've been saying this shit for years. Like this, I don't care for Minecraft. I don't care for Minecraft.
But it would sell.
Yeah, because you will have Minecraft. They have just go out and and buy this just for the collectors or whatever the case. But to me, they just don't. I don't know.
The problem with that one, they came out with it. It was $400 when the X was $500, and you can only buy it. And you can only buy it at the Microsoft store.
And Target.
Yep.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, yeah, but that too. But it did sell, and they went all out for the whole Minecraft thing and the control. But I'm saying they should have did that shit 2 years ago. I agree. I'm saying I don't know. Like I said this not to take over you guys' show. As far as with me anyway and with the Xbox. I spent I've been here from forever, right? The last got the console 2001, Xbox Live since 2002. Oh shit, I was a goddamn beta tester for it, right? It just came to a point with me. I don't know how about you guys. It's the first time I'm ever talking to you guys in the air. That I seem like I want them to win more than they want to win themselves. I just look at Microsoft now is that they don't care about winning as long as they have their name on the trophy, can hand it to the winner at the end of the race. Where you look at Microsoft, when you look at Sony and Nintendo, I just get that they want to win. They want to go out there and not lead the competition. And they are just saying we all can get along, and we can blame it on bias. I mean, shit that happened. But at the end of the day, like, just being honest, these last 2.5 years have been wretched, has been horrible. We can go back to what Sony didn't have this started, Jim. Just look at this last 2.5 years of what Lucky Tales and Voodoo Vincent. Oh, I'm not knocking those that like those games, but that's all that we got.
And they keep talking more hardware and services, and they don't.
You know what I mean? Even with the X, right? All jokes aside, and I'm gonna say this again: the X is probably the best console that I've ever owned in my life as far as features that we can do. I can get it right, but the big problem is with the X is that here that you have your competitor again, which is the Pro. To be realistic here, which is $100 cheaper, right?
Right.
And their game exclusive wise look better than your exclusives. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fact. That's fact.
Right. It's a perception.
And and kudos to Sony for changing the narrative again. It's always about the games. You know what I mean? Sony didn't really have any games that started Knax and the fucking drive clubs and the kill zones, dog shit, right? But it's an issue when you have again your biggest competitor, and their games look better graphically than your fucking more expensive hardware again. So again, they flip. We judge games by what we see. Not saying whether you can see Smooth. You may like CFDs better than God of War. Cool, that's your prerogative, right? But we judge games by what we see, and graphically, like, come on, goddamn, that you got a game that's running on 2001 point. What's the original PS4? 1.8 T flops.
Right,
Looks better than my exclusive graphically on my 6 T flop console exclusive wise. That's a fucking problem.
It's because their devs only have to worry about making on the PlayStation hardware. They don't have to worry about PC and ports and working on two things at once. They focus on the hardware. I've been saying for the last couple of weeks that the fact that their development studios only have to worry about the closed system of a PlayStation 4 and a Pro. The Xbox development studios have to worry about clouds and PC and working on the X and the S. It's multi-platform development, and the dev said it to us. See, the State of the K dev said to the show.
Oh yeah.
It's multi-platform, and now everybody that Microsoft owns, all their first party, have to work on 2 different platforms, PC and Xbox. Whereas PlayStation, it's a closed environment. You know the specs. Make the game for the console, and that's why the games look better because they're custom made for the console. It's a closed system.
Well,
So you're
again,
saying if God of War and stuff existed on the PC, it wouldn't look like that?
There would have to be compromises, and Seamus Blackley said when you have to do PC development, because there's such a wide array of configurations, you have to have compromises in your game to run on all those different types of systems. So when you have and that's the reason why he proposed having a closed console. That's the why the whole console exists, and then now you have this is the reason why like the Switch gets those games running, and not the ports. I mean their own, like Tennis and Odyssey,
Octopath and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
That's
when
what
you
I'm
have a
saying, right.
game that's built for a closed system environment and the developer just has to worry about that system and not variations, you get the best performance out of it. Whereas the Xbox is brute forcing it because it's powerful.
You know what though, Jez? Like I don't believe games when next generation comes, Microsoft is going to abandon the S and the X.
I hope so.
I do not believe too.
I kind of agree.
No, do not abandon PC.
Well, I think PC,
I'm
they're
just
not
saying,
going to abandon it, but I think crossplay is not going to be a thing, or cross-buy. I'm sorry, cross-buy. I think games will still be on PC, but I think you'll get two different things.
I think things will be backwards and forwards compatible, but like third-party developers making a game next generation when Xbox 2 drops, it's going to play on the S. That's not going to happen from third party.
Oh no. I agree. I agree.
Move on from it, yeah.
They'll move on from it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Man,
but what if it's just? I
think at the beginning of the gen, you'll see some games that do that because that happens in every generation. That's no different.
First couple of years. Yeah.
Here's the thing, right? I look at it like this, right? And again, shout out to Seamus Blackley, it's my man, right? He did an interview a few years ago. He asked when he was, the head rock, and then Bill Gates was there, and he said, their ultimate vision for the Xbox, whatever the case, was to have a Windows device in every firm, right? Some form of Windows, right? Mm-hmm. And they said, even back then, Microsoft had games on with the Zoo Tycoons or the Roller Coaster Tycoon. They had to combine their PC, what they have on the PCs with the console thing. And Shameless said to them that really it wouldn't work because we're just two different consumers, which is
right.
And what I mean, here's the thing, all right? And you have, just be honest, we got to call a spade a spade. And I said this then, that them putting games anywhere, play anywhere hasn't been a huge success, right?
Right.
Because if you look at most people's combination within the community, take YouTube, right? They have a PC and a PlayStation 4, maybe even a Switch, because they can't get PS4, first party games on PC, so they get a PS4, right? But why would I buy your console when I can have the better version of your game, most likely for cheaper, on my PC to run better, right? So you have that whole narrative again, right? And you look at, again, I know Microsoft is in a very unique space as far as they have their hands in everything, right? Everything, cloud, PC, this, that, and the other. And I always said this, and I said this to Phil too. I said, more or less, I'm not to him directly, but he watches the shit. He does this thing I like. I don't hate you, Phil. But that before you become the master of many and master one, right? You having both you have Sony and Nintendo selling more consoles and outselling you, and they're still doing it the traditional way, right? More or less with exclusives, and how they're doing. You gotta have again. You're selling a $500 goddamn console, whatever. But you got to have something unique to that platform to make people again to want to go out and invest in your platform. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're putting out. And I want to say, choose my words wisely. I don't care about Gears Tactic. I don't care about Age of Empire. But if you look back at Gamescom last year, they had a better showing for a PC exclusive than they did their own fucking hardware.
Yeah, a big show, Age of Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but here it is. You're still giving out PC exclusives, but the console side of things, not only do we pay for Xbox Live, but we share their exclusives with PC day and date. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, again, it's like I don't know, like you give a motherfucking instant ticket, man. I know some PC guys, they like the fact, and kudos to you guys. I mean, we're just looking at it from the console perspective of things. It's me being an Xbox guy or a console guy, period. It's like, I mean, regardless, we would like to feel a little special, whatever the case may be, right? And then if you look at the original Xbox, some of their biggest exclusive. We're on PC, but we talking about goddamn day and date. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what is incentive? Let's be honest with you. You know what I mean? That, you know, like, it's just like, I don't know, like their messaging, bro, and what they're doing. 1 minute it's all about the console game, and then it's about when 10 fan play. Like, I don't fucking know. I don't even think they fucking know.
Nope.
I'll be
Shoot
honest,
against the wall. See what
I don't
sticks.
think it matters because it's just two completely two different segments of gamers altogether. So
They use two different control inputs. They're two different types of
yeah, of course. I may be one of the few, or maybe like a lot of us on YouTube, maybe right that game on both. You know, but that's in the vast, minute minority.
Okay, okay, yeah, you're right. But you look again, like you said, even the games that they're making. If you look at the games that sell well on PC, the Dotas, just the League of Legends, that stuff, they rather right, not more or less on the console side of things. If you look at the statistics from Ubisoft, they said they released a game, 98% of their shit is pirated, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people could say the Windows Store is shitty, and just say, I get it.
Oh, it is, please.
Cool. You know what I mean? But to be honest with you, you know what I mean? I give you Gears, like, you know what I mean? One game Gears, you know what I mean? You got one motherfucker running 100 frames a second. I'm doing 60, 50, now I'm chugging along. Like, I don't want to play against mouse and keyboard.
I understand.
What is I don't understand. Like, what is the fucking big question to push everything together? You know what I mean?
They did it with Halo Wars 2. They just did a little update and they merged the PC players with the Xbox players against their will. And you have to play against PC. Like, you have to play together. There's no separate playlist now. And they did it probably because the
PC versions they're not performing well. Like, they don't got a lot of players.
They did, yeah, and they did the same thing with Gears of War. They put the PC players in the social playlists.
You know what though? Gears is one of the few games that you can say that the keyboard and mouse input doesn't translate well.
But in Halo was keyboard and mouse versus controller.
Oh no, yeah, you're gonna get wrecked. Just like when Halo 6 or Halo Infinite drops, if they merge those two together, it's gonna be, you know. People are going to be
got to put if they want that to work, they got to put the development time in. And Phil Spencer said, like, the PC, they'll have their own input and they'll automatically detect this. He's talking out his ass because those games, what they're doing is when they see the install base and see the matchmaking times, they're going, well, guys, it's dropping off. Let's combine them all. And it's like a crapshoot at the end. It's like, no, you got to put the work in if you want this to work. That's why I feel this has all been a crapshoot. It's been throw shit against the wall to see what sticks. They have not thought this out. They tell you they think it out and in their mind, but they're not putting their mouth to the ground. They'll tie it to the ground. They're not doing it. They're not making.
I don't want to say they haven't thought this out. All the money they spent on like R&D, these are some of like the smartest people in the world, like working for this company. So I like,
if they're smart, that Windows 10 store wouldn't look like the way it is.
I think they thought it out, but I just think it was kind of like late. I think they jumped in at a point where
the devs probably couldn't integrate it,
right? And it was at a point where it was really
no. They've been working on this for quite a while because they tried. This is their first time at trying this. They tried this with Vista.
Well, they did this with Shadowrun.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. But I mean, I just think that it's kind of like at a point where it's like, okay, we're at a point where we really is it going to really impact the industry like we really wanted to? Not really. Not now. Not now.
I mean, you could say that PC gaming, for example, right now is probably as popular as it's ever been.
Yeah.
Right? Oh,
Microsoft probably wants some of that too.
Of course. That's totally the reason why they're going in the direction that they're going in. I mean, they're not dumb.
Yeah, and Mark, you know that if they really, really wanted PC and they really wanted people to play their games, they would have just embraced Steam.
Put them on Steam.
Instead, they integrated this Windows 10 store so they could control it, not allowing mods, things like that, and basically control that and probably not have to do a cut to Steam. But they basically put themselves as a middleman. So when they say PC, we want everybody to play PC, they're really talking about Windows 10, the store. They're not talking about like Steam unless some games they put on Steam.
And some people are jumping on that and they slowly realize that's not the type of experience they want.
No,
but you gotta realize also you also gotta realize their competitors are opposite because Sony already said like their biggest competition is PC, so they already know that hey, this is our competition. We got to push away from this. So there's two different avenues. Microsoft is like, hey, we can put it on PC because we deal mostly with PC. Sony's like our biggest competition.
They can put it on PC because they operate.
Right. What I'm saying is like the whole
most
thing
games
is like,
don't work without Windows.
But what I'm saying is like Sony realized their competition is the PC market. You know, they want to keep
That's
people
not Sony's
on their
platform.
platform. That's what they've said.
They said that's the reason why they made
that's the reason why. Right.
Well, they made the Pro because they want people to go to PC. But the thing is, I think Sony right now has people's heartstrings, and they know that they got this unique content and storytelling that nobody's doing right now, and they could and that's what E3 was about, just to basically just kind of do it like a movie and put this unique content out there and make people come to their platform. Like they got something that's balancing. It's different than what the rest of the gaming industry is doing with services and let third party do that. Now, Microsoft, on the other hand, is kind of doing what everybody else is doing, which is not really giving a balance to their platform. And Sony and Nintendo offering unique experiences, some just single player experiences, some just kind of like wash games like Kirby and stuff like that, and like Dreams, which that looks pretty cool, but unique experiences that no other third party is doing, and it's balancing out that platform. And Sony knows that. That's why they're focusing on their exclusive games rather than saying, well, here's a bunch of third party games that you can play everywhere.
What's so unique about what Nintendo's doing?
This shit. I don't know.
Look, Nintendo's just doing Nintendo.
Nintendo's doing just Nintendo. You got your
Metroid
coming, you got your Smash Bros. coming.
Unique thing. I'm just kind of curious to see what was the unique thing about it. It's like,
nah, they're just doing Nintendo. Like they're doing
unique about it.
There's nothing.
I'm telling you, Nintendo was genius. I'm gonna tell you,
unique. Nintendo is actually following the trend.
Well,
Nintendo is
you mean with the online service, though?
Paid subscription online. They're getting all the service-based games because they're finally getting third-party support. The only difference is you get to do it on the go,
and that's the trick, man.
But
that's
I don't see.
That's the draw.
What are they doing? I'm talking about content-wise. What is so unique?
They're giving you that unique content that they make, like the tennis games.
Mario's not unique anymore.
What?
It's not unique.
I mean, it's Mario, man. It's
Mario.
It's Mario.
It's Mario.
Always finds a way to
Nintendo.
reinvent itself.
I'm just saying. I mean, Nintendo,
they're not reinventing the games, but the fact that they got hardware that's totally different than anything that's out there, there you go. So they made anything you put on that thing, because you can play it on the go. Now it's basically has a fresh coat of paint, like a new way to play it, and that's how they're ingenious with that stuff.
But they're doing everything.
Well, yeah, they're making the same type of.
Everybody else is doing.
I mean, did we put
Metroid
Nintendo in the same? Like when we talking about the consoles, do we even put them in the same space as like the Xbox One or the PS4? I don't think we do most of the time. Like we put them in a separate like little box, and we say, okay, well, they're
just being
different.
Traditional, though. They're being traditional, just like Sony's being traditional. They're putting unique content on their platform, where Microsoft is kind of opening the book and saying, put our stuff everywhere. And that's where the difference is. Like, Microsoft wants their stuff everywhere, and the other two are like, we're going to put unique stuff on our hardware, so you buy our hardware.
Mm-hmm.
That's
somebody actually said the Labo in the chat, bro. Labo is like Earth Day.
No, that was a miss from
That was
a miss.
Hashtag Earth Day.
Yeah, I think people saw through Nintendo's bullshit with that thing, because that thing was a huge miss.
Hashtag put in the recycling bin, man.
That's right, man.
Yeah, you should just like reuse your Nintendo Switch box and make something out of it.
The draw to it is the console, I think, itself, man, and they have those unique IPs that like we all grew up on, and those are gonna sell. It is what it is. They got me.
It's nostalgia.
They got me, right? Like, and I don't even play that dusty thing right now.
They got you, man.
I know. Buying a Switch is like losing $300.
I bought that garbage Wii U too.
I did
too.
Shame.
I bought that garbage Wii U.
Man,
I had the Wii. I had them all, bro. They got me every gen.
They got me every gen. They got me.
People are like, I see people in the chat talking about what's so unique about Xbox. Like it's not about being unique. Even though this console, like I said in the past, it's the most flexible console I've ever owned. I still think it's the best gaming machine for a console known to man. But people don't know how to resonate.
Known to man.
Like known to man.
Known to man. It's like
in the universe is another kind.
It's just like
known to man. See, it's only known to man. Goddamn crackers is lacking.
The new Sea of Thieves update.
Hey, Smoke, come on, man. We gotta be honest. We gotta get the biggest knife. We got to cut the bullshit out, man. Sea of Thieves is dog shit. State of Decay is dog shit. Voodoo Vince is dog shit. Lucky Tales dog shit. Come on, man. We bet like 0 for 100 over this motherfucker. It's spooky over here, bro. One game you chasing chickens, another game you killing gods, bro. Like we fucked up over here, bro.
I love the idea of cooperative experiences. I was born in the cooperative generation.
Forza is gonna be big, man. Especially the fact it's gonna be like an MMO.
What's going to be big?
Forza Horizon 4.
Yeah, it's gonna be more like
they're replacing drivatars with humans.
Yeah.
But listen, I mean, listen. I listen. I'm not like I said, I'm not big on car games as I used to be. When it comes down to the motorsport and the Horizon, I'll way before Horizon over the motorsport. You know what I mean? But that in itself, and that's Microsoft only claim to flame this generation has been Forza. You know what I mean? That's the only title exclusive wise that didn't go down in stock actually risen. And I'm a huge Gears of War fan.
Yeah,
you know I mean, so
Gears of War 4 was lacking. It was rough.
I don't see what was wrong with Gears of War 4 though.
The multiplayer was very similar. It wasn't really. It was solid, but
yeah, enjoy it.
Well, I'll give you an example. You see,
I enjoy it.
They can always put boosters on their cogs and make them jump and run up walls and shit. I mean,
that's
I guess
how
we can do that.
No, I mean what I mean by that. I'm putting words in my mouth. If you look at again God of War, it raised in prestige. You know what I mean? And as far as Halo and Gears, they didn't. Only thing I said kind of raised in prestige was probably the Forza series. You know what I mean?
So what you're basically saying is the franchise we know they reinvented themselves.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Gears multiplayer was very safe. It was safe.
I don't understand.
All right, Smooth. I'll give you an example. Right, Gears of War 4 should have had capture the Brumac. Put a Brumac in one end, put another Brumac on the other end, and you got to go get that Brumac and ride it back to your base. That's next level shit right there.
You know what? That is a good idea. I ain't gonna lie. That's a good idea.
Come on, they got the Brumacs in Horde. Or just put one Brumac on the map.
Oh, you talking about modes like multiplayer?
I'm just talking about the next level stuff, man. That's what I expect.
It's a matter of modes. Okay, no, they could have.
So, and they didn't have that mode. They had they had what was
that? Never existed.
They should make it.
I've put more time into the Gears of 4 multiplayer than any other Gears game in the past. That's a fact.
I have also.
I think I spent the most time in Gears 2 multiplayer for some reason. I don't know. Gears 2 and then followed by Gears 3.
I play a lot of Halo 5 multiplayer. I thought I liked the Halo.
And Halo, I love Halo 5's.
I have almost 13 days in Halo 5 multiplayer.
Halo 5 was good.
So I've only played it a tad.
We should probably get onto one of those shits tonight.
I'm down.
Yeah. But Grimes McGears, I want you to speak on something. No Man's Sky, I think released was it today or was it last Tuesday or something like that for the Xbox?
Yesterday it did. The update, yeah. And
what was it? What's it called? This is like the next
No Man's Sky
next. Yeah, and Jazz came up with this
as I was playing it, yes. As I was playing the game. So
Express.
I bought it on last year when I got my PlayStation. I bought it, and they were adding the updates to it. And now I've been playing it again now that they added the update to it. And as I'm playing this game, and I saw that when they had that trash inside Xbox, they put Sean Murray on there, and he was on stage. He was with Microsoft and stuff like that. And I have this feeling like I think Microsoft will probably buy Hello Games because this game is right. It's their cup of tea. It's basically, and the reason why I say that is that I know I got yelled at last week by saying Halo was going to be a platform, and I think more Destiny style, and it's going to be like this platform to deliver content, just like a Minecraft. This game, No Man's Sky, it's a small studio, probably could get them for cheap, and they have this algorithm that they can make these games, these big worlds, and things that they can inject content in, add features to it, and just let it be this big game service game. I think that maybe not just for No Man's Sky, but also for their next game, if they're going to make a next game, to get the backing from Microsoft. I see them as a studio that Microsoft will probably target to purchase. And what's strange about it too is that game, the developer and the studios went into kind of hibernation, man. The guy was he sealed up his doors. He put on lead jack. He was getting hunted, that guy, after he released that game. And the studio went quiet. And then they just did kind of low key, they started doing little updates a year or so later. But it's so strange because 2 years later, all of a sudden they just come out of the blue and go, yo, No Man's Sky next. And it's coming to Xbox. it's kind of strange. Like, I don't know if Microsoft went knocking on his lead door going, hey, yo, man, come out. We want you on our platform and here's some money, but I do think it kind of falls into that realm. Like Hellblade was about a year out, and they did say that was coming to PC, coming to Xbox, I mean. But this one, I think they were talking about was going to Xbox, but then they just went quiet. And all of a sudden, they just came back, and Microsoft was promoting this game really, I think, a lot. They're promoting this game that I do think that it might be a studio that they might target. They're kind of that indie studio, and they could get them. They're like only 40 people, 20 people.
Now they are. They were only 16.
Yeah, and then they could, and it's just a perfect game, and I don't think just for No Man's Sky, but for their next game or for what their next game could be. And also too, Microsoft has this thing, and even when they just bought these studios, the same thing what they do in Minecraft, they like to kind of buy people that actually have games or released on other platforms. So if they ever want to flip a switch like they did with Minecraft, say cross play or whatever like that, they kind of do that. They did it with the Collective, with Happy Few, that's going out on all the platforms. They're not pulling it. They did it with Minecraft, and they did it with Hellblade. Hellblade just released the HDR update now, and I just saw people attacking them now for not having the PSVR, thinking that Microsoft. And you know what? I do think that there's some. I know that they said that they don't want to put it on, that system, but put it on that. I do think that Microsoft might have said, we're not wasting development time to put it on a PlayStation VR.
You see the minimum specs for the VR game required?
I know it says 1080p and stuff like that, but hell, if they could get Hellblade running on the Xbox One S, put it on PlayStation VR.
Yeah, but Hellblade is a limited game. You could do the Xbox One S can have the most graphically demand. The Xbox One S can have Detroit on it if you wanted to. It's limited.
Yeah, I do think
good. I
think it's twofold. I do think probably. I think it would cost some development time for them to do that, and I don't think probably they want to put it down for that low. I don't think it's solely the power issue. I do think that it might be a little push from Microsoft going, nah, we're not interested kind of in VR, because it really doesn't benefit Microsoft in a sense, because they don't have a VR thing unless they have it for PC, which by doing Oculus and stuff like that, they kind of cover that. So I do think it's bothfold. I don't think it's Microsoft just coming in and going, hell no, but I do think it's like just shaking their head going, nah, you know what, man? Like,
why did they have to wait like a year for an HDR update though?
Well, because they waited to update it for the X, I think. When they released it for the Xbox, they went back and did it for the enhancements for the X, and they added HDR to it. And then I think they was said as we're promising it for PlayStation, and then that's why. But because it didn't have HDR when it first launched.
I think the reason they really did it is because, if the only way you're going to get the HDR at all was if you had an S or an X, and in Sony's console, every console's HDR. So I think they just said, well, we'll just do it for the PlayStation, and we'll just do it for these guys later, because they got their S and their X now. So we'll just do it later. And I just think it was a matter of consoles. If every Xbox was HDR compatible, so forth, they'd be a little bit different. I think they might have did it sooner. But
I think it's really weird that they're doing VR for Hellblade anyway. Like, I don't even think it's first person. I don't even know if it's just playing like behind the character and it's just kind of rendered in 3D. Yeah. It's kind of I don't think it's really. It's kind of weird, and it's not a new game. It's just an update to, if you have it already on PC, like you basically do it. But it is what it is. I'm not losing sleep over there. There's actually, I'm not going to talk about PlayStation VR, but there are a ton of games that came out this week, the Persistence, and so more coming. Like another, actually, I'm going to tell you one thing. Sega Genesis Collection just added a VR mode that you could play it in VR on an old school TV, and you're actually sitting in a room, and you could look at your shelf and choose your cartridge and play the game like sitting there in front of a TV in a room.
That's kind of cool.
And they added that as an update for the Sega Genesis Collection, which is really cool. And there's another game coming out that's going to be where you're kind of playing a Game Boy in class, and you actually have the controller in your hand, and in the game you actually see the Virtual Boy or whatever you have, the Game Boy, and the teacher comes by and like it tries to smack it out of your hand, and you kind of have to like put it down, and you got to not get caught playing your video games. And that's another VR game's coming out. I think comes out next week. But yeah, VR has tons of stuff. That's another whole realm that I really enjoy that. But anyway, the Hello Games thing, I'm just gonna say that I'm not saying that it'll be an amazing, like, will be an amazing buy, like what Ninja Theory is, but I just do see them being a target because of the world that they built and that's kind of where Microsoft likes that stuff. Like, I think that's the kind of stuff they like. It's just these kind of games that evolve over time and that they could do that. And Hello Games has that. And, I just think that might be it. Whether it's good or bad, I don't know. The guy did talk out his ass when it first launched, but a lot. And when it came out, it wasn't just, I think you need a PR guy to talk stuff, but the game is great. I do think the game is great. It was pretty good. I didn't play it at launch though, but I do think it's something that they might do. What do you guys think? Do you think that it sounds like something that they might do? Because they are looking to buy some studios.
What, the VR stuff?
No, Hello Games, to buy Hello Games.
Why the hell do they want to buy Hello Games?
I just said like they might want to buy them so that they could could monetize like their future games. Like, it's a platform. It's basically a service game. They could just they're cheap. They're probably going to be a small studio, and they can make buy low and basically have this big game that they could just keep adding services to and content.
And I think if I'm not mistaken, Hello Games' first game, Joe Danger, was on the Xbox for quite some time before it even came to PlayStation.
It was in an arcade.
Yeah, so I think that it wouldn't be a bad thing to buy them. I think Hello Games, what they've done in the math and just the small studio that they have and what they've done with No Man's Skies, even though it's not a game for everyone, I think it's very intelligent. And I think that game, I agree. Like, I bought it day one on the PlayStation. I think it's a game that fits right in their catalog of games. Like, it's a game you could put in Game Pass and you would keep people in Game Pass for. I really do believe that. I really believe it's that kind of game.
And I think Microsoft wants to buy studios, and I was thinking of this earlier. The reason why they're buying these things, because I think they want to have this longevity. They want to monetize these games, and they want this long-term kind of commitment to both the gamers and to their pockets, basically, of making a game that would last longer. And I think a lot of the games that they had, the reason why we're not getting the Sunset 2s, Rise 2s, all this stuff, they were contract deals. And when the contract dried up, those guys made other games for other systems or just stopped making games or not making a sequel. And now their contracts, I think now they want to buy the studio, own it, so they can control the content for a long term of time. They can't do that if they just do a contract with somebody saying, well, you're going to support content for the next 3 years unless you do a big money Destiny contract, like with something along those lines with Activision, like Bungie and Activision. But I think that they could buy these smaller studios. They can make kind of these open world games, and Microsoft could inject content to it, just like they do with Sea of Thieves. Like, that's not a small studio, but just like that, limited content, and let's just keep adding stuff to it. And No Man's Sky follows that model. So I just thought, they want to.
I feel like Hello Games it does seem like a purchase they would make just looking at their recent purchases. I think if they were going to purchase them, they probably already did. But I'm not sure. It's not too far fetched. I don't want that to be.
I just had a random thought. I was thinking.
I think there's a lot of talented talent that's out there. A lot of studios that could be like. I just go through the Xbox store and look at these independent studios that are making like these AA games, like the team behind Vampire. And I wish they got a hold of the team that did Strange Brigade before Valve did it, but yeah, I mean, I can see why you come up with that, but we'll definitely know soon if that's the next move. They said they weren't done, so I mean, it's not. I don't think it's gonna move boats or anything. I ain't gonna move mountains with that, but
if that happens, I'll put that in the same trash pile with the Switch in the corner room. Hello, No Man's Sky, all that shit. They leave it right in the same trash pile with the Switch. I'm good.
So there was this leak or rumor that came out in regards to the next generation Xbox. And Phil Spencer, he hinted at it when he said that the team that made the Xbox One X are hard work on the Xbox, the next Xbox consoles, plural. Yep. And now there's this report that there's definitely going to be two consoles, one being a traditional console, and then this other one that has everybody panties in a bunch is the streaming box, a cheaper Xbox console that will be for streaming only. And we haven't gotten a chance as a group, had not had the chance to talk about this. And Next Gen, I know you just went live. I didn't get to check it out because I was trying to gather everybody. But what are your initial thoughts when you heard the rumor? You saw the report.
Okay. Here's what I think about it in the just rumored. The pricing between $150, $125. And if this thing can work on like they rumored to work, they can, that on the actual device itself is going to handle the collision and the things that causes latency. If they can get that down and it's virtually maybe the same thing, maybe not as pretty as the successor to the Xbox, whatever it's going to be called, or maybe just 1080 60 stream, whatever the case may be, right? This will be huge within, just say single parent home, whoever. My grandson and them, hey, granddad, I want to play that new Call of Duty. Shit, $150. Boom, get them a card, they can stream it and they can get it to work like Netflix and no latency. It's huge. Huge. I don't have an issue with it. This is not for me. Of course, I'm gonna own the console, but there are a lot. I see a lot of people, like you said, the naysayers, and who would have thought that? Let me hit you right back 1 second. Who would have thought that Netflix would have took off the way that it did? Should Netflix put blockbusters out of business? You know what I mean? I don't have an issue with it again, but if this device is rumored to do everything that it's saying it can do, a lot of people here on streaming games is horrible, this, that, and the other. But if you're talking about you're going to get basically the same experience as with a console, but not as pretty, I think it's huge for gaming. Period. The future. It's the tech. Just on the tech side of things. You know what I mean? Now, can they deliver this? That's something totally different. Will it work the way it's rumored to work? That's what I mean. But again, if they can get it to work the way that they're saying it's work, you know what I mean? I think it's a win-win for them. You know what I mean? Maybe it's a way again. Like I said, Microsoft putting their toe in every puddle, and don't say that. They're looking at the bigger thing. Let me say this because I got a lot to say here, right? Forget the console war stuff, right? And what everyone does here, who sells what NPD, this and the other. Microsoft, and even if this is Microsoft's other company, have their hands, they have access to data that we don't see, that we really don't pay attention to, right? Microsoft, and again, not to just talk about their money, they made $10 billion, whatever the case. On a diabetic diet. Just being real, it's a business. Giving us Lucky Tail, Zoo Tycoon, and all that dog shit right there, right? And made all that money. I think they made 2.5 in profit or whatever, billion in profit. And again, I can care less about Microsoft money, right? But they're looking to get the grander scheme of things that, how many billions of gamers in the world. Now, maybe they can't compete with Sony, especially when it comes to, I guess, exclusive now. And again, the Sony brand is much bigger than the Xbox brand worldwide. You know what I mean? But again, if they can deliver a device that an 8-year-old, or 9-year-old, they can play the latest version of Fortnite, whatever the case, or Grand Theft Auto 6 for $150 goddamn dollars, and it's virtually the same goddamn thing. Hiccups, and it'll work like Netflix. You know what I mean? Like when was the last time someone really went out and bought a Blu-ray movie or something? Everybody Netflix and everybody streaming. You know what I mean? That will be huge. You know what I mean? Now, will that translate into them getting better games? That's another story for another day. We're just talking about on that. That's huge. You know what I mean? If they're able to pull it off. You know what I mean?
All right. Jazz, you had a stream the other day. Oh, if you could just kind of recap your thoughts when you heard this rumor.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I got, kind of just ticked off is because I'm just exhausted about talking about services and hardware, any more hardware coming from them. And I feel like the biggest thing that drives services is content. And that's the biggest question mark that we have. We hear crackdowns in some disarray. Gears 5 is Kate's story. Halo Infinite is Halo Infinite. It's not like there's a lot of uncertainty. We don't know what these studios are going to make, and content drives services. And when I just hear more and more service talk and hardware talk from them, I'm just like, and because he said it at E3, this is not just a rumor. He came out at the end of E3 and Phil was like, we're making a streaming service and we're making the next gen console. And now they're hearing the streaming service might be ahead of schedule and stuff like that. I'm just like, they got to focus on the content. The content is what drives the service. Netflix will be like, Netflix was nothing when they were showing crap movies and streaming, but when they started developing their own content and showing, like making the deals with Disney, getting some Disney, it made Netflix streaming worth a damn, because when it first launched, the content wasn't there. It was just a side thing. And Microsoft needs to understand that. Like, the content is what keeps people subscribed. And if they're going to focus on a streaming service and this kind of Game Pass and all this other stuff, they really need to make sure that the content is there. And that's where I was driving the conversation. As for the streaming box itself, I thought we would see more of a discless system first before we went right to streaming. More of like kind of a digital delivery system first, and maybe saving $100 and something off the price of the console, at least have some native downloading stuff. And for them just to go right to a stream box, if they could do it, if it works, and people saying 150, Microsoft has been real boisterous with their prices, 500, 400. They haven't been kind of the lowest, like, hey, we're going to give you something cheap. Like, they feel like their hardware is worth an expense, like a premium, like Apple. So to Microsoft to come out with just this low end kind of stream box, I don't know if that's typically them, because they typically like putting in premium prices. Look at the Surface prices. Look at the Surface book.
You think
prices.
they would make that a premium if they're putting out a traditional console on alongside with it? You think they would?
It's not going to be no 500, but I think it'll probably be like around 200 or like something along that. I don't think it's going to be like 100, 150.
I think it's going to be either 200 or less. I don't see it being above 200.
But even here's the thing. What I think, and you're right, and it's not that I disagree with you as far as the content, but they won't be the only one responsible for making content. You got Ubisoft and Call of Duty. You're still going to be able to get those games. The next Grand Theft Auto, and whether even if they're again, I listen. Exclusives are what gives a console its identity. I've always said this. Exclusives are, especially to everyone here, right? But not so much to the casual, everyone here, right? But we talking about a kid, we're talking about, hey, mom, I wanted the new Call of Duty, whatever the hell, teacup, right? And mom doesn't have $400 right now or $500 to go buy the next PlayStation 5 or whatever the hell it is, right? But you can get it here on this one, and it works. It's huge. You know what I mean? I'm just looking at it from that aspect. And then, of course, Microsoft needs to get this shit together as far as exclusive with their games. And these 5 studios, I hope, they don't give them, how you say, don't dictate, let those guys go out and create and because they are artists, and let them, Microsoft have been guilty of that. Like 343 is way too big just to be making one goddamn game. You know what I mean? Whereas Naughty Dog would have the resources and have the fucking staff, and you Last of Us and Uncharted, and already have making something outside of the Last of Us and Uncharted fucking universe also. So I mean, they, like I said, they have been guilty of that, of stifling their creators. But I'm just talking about it from the device standpoint. You know what I mean? If this thing can work and it can be all that it is, maybe it may not be for us here. You know what I mean? We can get that, but we're just talking about little Billy in Idaho, some goddamn wicked, to play the latest Grand Theft Auto for $150. That's fucking huge. I mean, if it works.
Yeah, but wait a second. But if you say it's $150, it's like, does that same mom have $150 to spend on the hardware, then $60 to subscribe them online, then $10 for Game Pass per month, and then maybe another $40 or $20 to stream a game or so? Like,
no, I mean, here's the thing.
It's like a low cost of entry. It's a bait and switch. Really,
not to mention, you're gonna have to always be connected to online.
Okay,
come on.
Okay, here's the thing, right?
How many kids are playing Fortnite right now?
Yeah, here's the thing, right? Now, this don't have anything to do with Game Pass. The next Call of Duty ain't got nothing to do with Game Pass. Microsoft, they own, so you can buy whatever game you're going to buy. This is the way I'm thinking about. We all, whatever other Microsoft store, you buy for $60, right? And with their streaming service that they're rolling out, that you'll be able to, that game that you bought, stream it to, your console. I don't think that
I'll do you one better. Not only are they going to sell that streaming box, I guarantee you the existing 40 or 50 million consoles that they've sold already, Xbox Ones, you'll be able to stream on those too.
Yeah, but they'll put the app on that game console. That's what you mean?
Yeah, like the same function that $150 box does, that it does the hit detection and renders the image, whatever the case may be. I predict that they'll probably extend that feature onto the existing 40 or 50 million consoles that they've already sold.
I totally agree with you, but my
I think
problem is
they want to get to the phone.
Problem is
that's what I want.
You gotta have the online. And I don't think everybody's going to have the internet connection for that. Some people have data caps.
Go ahead.
I was going to say some people have data caps. Like you're talking about an online, and it goes back to the original 2013 Xbox, always online, yada yada yada. And that's not a problem with that. But how many people are really going to say, okay, this is a streaming box, this is for me, even if it's $150? Like. I think physical media. I agree with Jazz, and we talked about this. I think you're looking at you'll see a digital only console, and I think that will fly off the shelves quicker.
I think that's probably better.
You think brick and mortar will carry it? Like you think they'll actually carry that?
I don't know.
Well, they'll sell the cards.
But brick and mortar is dying. We already see. GameStops are the
Toys R Us is gone.
Yeah, that like the future is digital, really digital, right? Yeah. So, and streaming is definitely here. It's been the future, right? But for gaming, because gaming is one of the medias you interact with. Yeah, I think it's very early in its infancy. I think that it's very hard to do with gaming because you interact with it.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong. If Microsoft can pull it off, kudos to them. But I think that you would rather have a person that will buy a digital only console without a disc tray than you would have a streaming box.
I agree. Technically, the traditional box is just like our Xboxes and PlayStation Now can be used as a digital only box. So I don't think it's that much of a bigger seller if they remove or keep the disc tray.
Oh, they can make
it was a bigger seller because you're always connected online, so you have a smaller install base because not everybody has the internet to do that.
Well,
not everybody does.
How do you know that? Because Microsoft, another thing, and it has nothing to do with gaming, but you know how everything Microsoft does always. Well, depending on what it is, resorts back to their gaming. They'll let it spread somewhere else. But they've been working actually on some form of internet alternative for people. But does it help? Because the thing is, when we think about game streaming, we're thinking about what we have now, like PlayStation Now or
we're
not thinking about it, what they're actually doing. Because what people are missing is they're creating a device, a dedicated hardware.
Let me ask something. Here's the thing, right? And I think we are looking at it from what we have now in the services that haven't been too good, and even the fact as far as data caps, right? I've never heard someone about a data cap complain about watching movies on Netflix.
No, I've never heard that.
Okay, so and again, I surmise again, Microsoft has already thought this out, that it would use probably the same thing as streaming a movie on Netflix. You know what I mean? Maybe not be 4K, but maybe 1080 again.
I was just about to ask that. Yeah. Do you get because their whole 4K issue is like they're pushing 4K. So then next year you talk about here's a streaming box, and then here's our other one. This one can't do 4K, but this one can.
I guess it goes up to whatever your bandwidth can handle. You know, even though you have the 4K movies in Netflix, not everybody can stream them. But again, and it's not that I'm so gun hunted about it. Go hunting about it. But if it works, and not to even be Debbie Downer, is what it's rumored to be. Because again, we don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah. Of course, everyone in America has the same, but you're not downloading the game itself.
Right.
So that being an auditionless console and having to download it and people having the data cap, then I could see when someone's complaining. But I never heard anyone complain about a data cap and watching Netflix. I look at it more or less, the next evolution of a Fire Stick. How many people have Fire Sticks and Kodis? You know what I mean?
That's true. I can agree with that.
You know what I mean? And I remember, listen, to take you back, I remember before wireless controllers became the standard, people complained about latencies and wireless controller. No one talks about that anymore. You know what I mean? That was latency.
But I mean, do we get our games in 100+ hours? Do we get our game? We're not going to get our games in 4K. I'm pretty sure.
But would you pay $60 to just have that box and stream a game?
But no. I mean, here's the thing, and again, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm
not for us.
Here's the thing. Like again, for someone that doesn't care about 4K. Just want 1080p. The game looks, and here's the thing. Here's a hit win-win. If that they can deliver a box, this is what if, and it looks better than what we already have for $150 fucking dollars. That's a steal.
Oh no, that's not bad.
That's
That's not bad. I agree with that. If they can do it, I agree.
You know what I mean? That, and again, if you're talking about I can play the next Call of Duty or the next Assassin's Creed or whatever the fuck the case may be, and I'm streaming it and it looks as good and there's no issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we already know EA is on board because they just purchased GameFly's streaming.
I was just about to say that, but then it's a streaming box. But then EA has their own service because EA wants to do the streaming thing too. So what does EA do when Microsoft's like, we got our streaming service, and EA has their own streaming service? That's what I'm thinking about too. Everybody wants their own streaming service.
Listen, this regime, they want, hey, cool, bring it on. Once we get a cut, EA actually, they got a problem with that. You got Game Pass. Hey, fine. Once we get a cut. And again, I just look at I don't look at it as a charge for the streaming service. I just look at it as you're buying the game on this service or whatever. I don't get no charge, but you're going to stream it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's not going to be a subscription.
They already have Game Pass, and that's where I look at it. It's just the tech that they have.
Like, for example, this is how I look at it. Let's say if I walked in, right, and I bought both the boxes, the Xbox 2 and the Xbox Cloud, right? And when my girl wants to watch TV, I turn off the Xbox 2 and then I go in the living room and play the Xbox Cloud and play the games I already own, except I'm streaming it instead of playing them natively.
That was like PlayStation TV, though.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing.
I mean,
that thing didn't do well at all.
You could do that now, where you can stream the Xbox games to your PC.
But it's not ideal. It's not ideal.
It's not ideal. This will let you do it from your sofa. You know what I mean?
The PlayStation TV had the same setup. You could stream your PlayStation to the PlayStation TV at 720p.
But the push for this is to get it at traditional quality, like
1080p,
how we got now.
Console quality that could be 720.
That's what
900.
They could say targeting at 1080p because I've done the Shield.
Forget what he said at the end of the E3 conference, like his console experience via like stream, like that. That's what they would be aiming for. They're not trying to have PlayStation now on a next generation box. That's not what they're aiming for. They're trying to. The only thing that's going to be different is that they want to have it to the point where if I pick up the game, let's say if I'm playing an Xbox One S, right, and I'm playing a game, it's going to be like that, except for streaming. And the thing that's going to blow us away is the fact of the latency. There's not going to be any latency.
Because their hard system will do everything that's really complicated on that side, and then the other streaming side will do things that are uncomplicated.
I've done that thing from streaming from an Xbox to PC, and there was latency. Like it wasn't.
Oh yeah, it was late. I've done it too. Yeah, it's late.
Yeah, that's why I said it's that. Though the way we have it now is not ideal, but I think they figured it out and they found the fix. I mean, that's why. Why else would you want to release a dedicated box if you haven't figured it out?
But then,
and you know what? This sounds crazy.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. But then you also got to think like the market is really ruled by the casuals. The casuals really market. How many casual people are really gonna go out there and buy this thing? Or people are still used to that hard box?
The price. That's the
price. Right? Because like if the casual is like $150, but let's be real. I'm not trying to say people who are casual are stupid. People are going to buy that thing and not realize it has to be connected to the internet at all times.
People bought Fortnite and realized it had to be connected to the internet.
Like, there are a lot of people who buy games and they're like, "Wait, this new Elder Scrolls game has to be online always."
Name one soul you know who bought Fortnite and then mad because they can't play without being connected.
Right. And so I'm just like, I think the casuals will speak. If the casuals want
every casual is on the internet.
Right, but what I'm saying, the casuals will speak to this. So if the casual want this, it's going to be successful. If they don't want it, they're not going to buy it. They're not going to buy it.
Like for example, just think back at 2013, right? The idea of having a
always online,
always online.
Yeah, casual didn't want it.
Digital catalog.
Nobody wanted
that was blasphemy. As it stands today, I do not own a physical game on any console, on the PS4 Pro, on the Xbox One X, on PC. It's been digital forever already now at this point. And I'm like, this whole stream, we thought that was crazy. And now look at us at the situation we are now. Now, fast forward at the end of maybe next generation, this streaming thing may not sound so crazy how some people make it sound now.
I think the next iteration is the stream, but I still think that I think the digital thing is more of a thing that we're going to see.
The thing is, we're already in the digital age.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, everybody wants a Xbox and PlayStation to release these consoles that's not going to have a disc drive. It's just not going to happen.
We've been in a streaming age with certain media, but not with gaming.
Yeah, with every media form
gaming,
is
because gaming is interactive,
except for gaming.
And that's
but
gaming is hard to do.
But you gotta sit back and understand this, and look at everybody else who's doing this. Look at EA. Look at Google, look at Amazon, look at Microsoft, all of them. It's not just Microsoft.
So Microsoft is basically doing it because
look at PlayStation. Look at PlayStation. Come on, they the one who pushed it on consoles.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you, the PlayStation library. My God,
Sony purchased the OnLive patent. Remember OnLive?
The Gaikai, they bought Gaikai.
Come on. This is not like just this Microsoft thing or Xbox thing. It's like all the big players
join the game,
trying to do this shit. And in the next 5 years, it's going to come like full blast.
Hey, what third party developer said that like half their game sales are digital now? Who was it that said that?
Ubisoft said that more than half their games are digital. Yeah.
All right.
And because when it started in 2013, it was like 20% of people, I think 15 or 20% of people were buying digital. Now it's basically like it's total opposite. It's like 70-something% of people buy digital and like 30% buy physical. Like it's a big number. It's like it's basically almost more than evened out. Like more people are buying digital than physical.
See, I think the streaming will be an option, like how you said. You have the games, if you're in a place that's inaccessible, you could jump on your game, you have it somewhere else on another TV. I think it's going to be more of an option. I don't think it's enough to say we're going to solely just be a streaming gamer next generation.
Oh, I agree.
So I that's why I'm saying having a dedicated device for it is definitely a very strong move for a service that, like I said, nobody's gonna be buying that so they could stream Netflix. People are gonna be buying that to stream the games that Xbox is offering. So, and you have to make sure. I think when you go into the store, you're gonna see digital version 60, stream it for 50, or when you buy it for 60, you also get the streaming version because NVIDIA Shield does the same thing.
Right.
When you buy it, you could stream it, but then you also get the Steam key to download it on your computer. So it's going to be physical. Digital.
You'll have access to it, and I think it's all going to be connected to your account.
And I think the other consoles are going to have it. You're right, like the big one, the $500 one, the big next one. I think the other consoles are going to have it too, like the S and the X. It'll just be an app, and I think phones will have it. That's like,
come on, man.
That's where they're trying to go with this, man. They want to get on your phone. They want on Apple. They want to get on Google. That's why they're pushing streaming. They want to go there.
But I think next gen you'll see. If you see two versions of consoles, I think you'll see more than anything. Well, I can say for one competitor, I think you'll see your console has your standard disc drive, and I think you'll see your console that says, "Oh, you can just buy digital," and maybe a streaming box this later. But I just don't think streaming is like as far as everything. If you're just going to stream it, I couldn't see myself just streaming games on a console, even if it was 150 bucks. Because like if you're pushing 4K, and then you come out next gen, you're like, oh, we got our Xbox Scarlet
720p 60,
and we can do streaming. Like, wait, what was that stuff you were talking about? 4K uncompromised, most powerful consoles. Like that defeats the purpose of going into your next generation. Now streaming is the future.
Well, no, it doesn't.
No, like you gotta have your
it's going to be a companion console. Like people, that's another thing people forgetting. So there is still a traditional console. It's like there's still
games are you going to play on that? Are you going to play the future games that are on your Xbox Scarlet, whatever it's called? So you're going to have your Scarlet and your Scarlet's Cloud, right? So your Scarlet Cloud streams, but your Scarlet with the 15 teraflops can do all your games in native 4K. So are you saying the Scarlet, the native 4K machine, will be able to stream those games on a Scarlet Cloud?
It depends. No. It probably can. Can you stream 4K movies?
You can, but the totally difference. I mean, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but the thing is,
it's hard to say. We don't know what the local hardware is going to handle.
Yeah, we're speaking about information we don't know, so it sounds really ignorant. Like,
I don't know. I guess it's an unthing. It's one of those things you kind of look at and it's like, man, we really don't know. So I can agree with you. Like, yeah, we don't know, but like, if you look at it from the perspective of just gaming, interacting with something, to me, if they can pull it off, I golf.
And I think it's giving them a little too much credit to go like, oh, they figured it out, but nobody else has. Like,
but how do you know nobody else figured it out?
Because it's not working.
Sony could have.
Nobody's released anything yet. But come on, there's too much research and development going on. Somebody has.
Let me ask the question: can Steam do this?
No, but
Steam
Nvidia can.
No, but Steam can stream to your TV with Steam Link.
Yeah, with Steam again.
But what I'm asking is can Steam stream a game? Like that's what I was about to say. Can Steam like you?
Yeah, through Steam Link. Yeah, 1080p.
Okay.
And we know we're not talking to like a month.
It's on your local network.
We're really already doing it. We're
talking like we're talking 2 years from now. Like we're talking 2-3 years from now, right? And we just the other week, Merc, we were talking about like Amazon and Google potentially getting a game forever. You think they're coming in traditionally? No, they're coming with streaming platforms, dude. They're coming with streaming platforms.
I mean, not now with like Xbox being out there with it, or at least a rumor that they're going to be out there with it. Then I could totally see that being the case.
And if everybody's coming with streaming platforms, again, it goes back to my whole thing: is that the content. If Microsoft's going to make you stream the games that you could stream everywhere else, then what's going to drive that platform? And the same thing, Google, I'm sure, is going to show up and say, "Here are games you could just get on this Yeti. Subscribe to our streaming service." It's going to come back down to exclusives, and Microsoft has to have the content, not just the ability to stream, but the desirable games that we want.
Well, that's why they bought multiple studios in it.
Well, we don't know what they're making, but
it doesn't matter at this point. But you see the intent. Like they don't just buy 5 studios just for no reason. The point is to bolster what they can offer for their platforms.
15 years from now, no one's going to be buying consoles how they are now. It's all going to be streaming. People are going to be clinging to the hardware, that consoles are like people are trying to cling to.
It'll be all apps. Yeah, it'll be all apps.
Yeah, man, it's changing. It's coming. This is just the beginning. It may not happen next gen, and it may not happen the one after that. But the one after that, you seriously think you're walking into a Best Buy and buying PlayStation 7 or whatever the case may be?
No,
I doubt it.
Yeah, by the time I'm in my 60s, everything will be streaming.
It's because the hardware is going to be it's the rate of limiting returns. Like it's going to be so expensive to build those boxes, and it's the displays are not going to really show it. It's not worth it for them to to build those kind of expensive boxes for. I think they might do it. Why PCs? They continue to make this hardware does. Get you in the ecosystem, Well,
if you look at it, Nvidia, that's why Nvidia came out with GeForce Now, man. They had to get their foot in the door. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like they're kind of prepping for that. And your Steam library, is what links up with GeForce Now.
Well, do you also think, and because Nintendo, the rumor is, because we're talking about Scarlet, and I don't mean to just jump off Scarlet, but Nintendo's rumored to have another handheld system, which I don't understand why, because you got to switch, but. Do you think this is the future for all consoles going forward? Like Nintendo have will this work for a handheld console better than a home console? Like I just see there's certain things I'm kind of I think we're limited to when you're talking about if everybody has the internet, let's just say the good internet quality, what's the install base for this thing? We're not talking. Are we talking the 80 million to 40 million now, or are we talking about maybe 10 million and everybody else has the other the premium hardware, like the one that can run natively, because I think people will stick with that because it's just gaming. Like gaming is just a very different element. When we talk about Apple Music, Google, and all that stuff, streaming music is one thing, but when you're streaming something you have to interact with one for one, that's kind of hard to do. And I really would like to see if they figured it out. And if they can figure it out and do it, is it going to be in 4K? Probably not for some years to come.
And what I'm gonna say is that PlayStation Now, it's I can't play wirelessly on PlayStation Now. It kicks you off. You have to be wired connection. But if they figured that out, the library that they have in there of exclusive games that you can't get anywhere else is definitely a big step. If they could figure that out in the next generation, if they could stream that thing properly, the content again in there is really big. They got all those tons of exclusives. They got every single thing they had from the PlayStation 3 in there. They have over 650 games in there. That's bigger than GeForce Now that has right now. They just got to figure it out because the streaming is really rough. And it's those mice running around those friggin' hamster wheels. I mean, over there with that PlayStation Now stuff. But when it works, but the thing is that thing sold. The console sold so much, and PlayStation Now really never became a thing that. I still think that, if I said this before, if Nintendo and Sony were failing and console sales were not what they were, and being traditional was not successful this generation, as everybody thought in the beginning of the generation, that consoles were dead, I would say, oh my goodness, this is the future. But this is Microsoft's future, and they're trying to position themselves probably against Apple and Google, like we said. But the traditional way seems to be the thing that's dominating this entire generation, and I think it took everybody by surprise. So, like, for Microsoft to be like, "This is the future. We're gonna make this the future." Good for them. But if everybody else does traditional and is successful that way, then I don't see anybody jumping on the board. Jumping.
Everybody else already made it. Okay.
What?
I mean, because Microsoft isn't the only one that's doing it. I mean,
well, Apple's not doing it yet.
Yeah, I mean, and Sony's doing it to a certain
Apple's
extent,
doing it to their
service.
iPad. Like, there's nobody streaming games besides Nvidia, PlayStation Now, and on live shit. That sucked, but
yeah, but I'm pretty
nobody's
sure,
really
like,
streaming games.
PlayStation
People have
Now
app
exists,
stores.
like, yeah, people are mostly playing natively on their console. Like, I don't think PlayStation Now is a huge success.
No,
I'm not saying, but what I'm saying is, like, though, it wasn't like, it's not like Microsoft was the first person to bring this to the forefront. It's like people's like, hey, this was actually from a console standpoint was presented to
billion. Well, here's a question I have to ask. Do we now, because you know how we put Nintendo, like, I kind of put Nintendo in a different category. Like, I don't look at them as competition to Sony and Microsoft, right? I really don't, because they're a different animal. Do next gen, are we now looking at like Microsoft as they're in a different category too? Like they're more against the Apple and Googles and whoever else, and like Sony's in its own category. They're just by themselves, and like Nintendo's in their own. They're just doing their. Because I'm kind of like, we're getting to a point where it's kind of like past all the fanboy stuff. It's like, damn, like Sony's doing this, Nintendo's doing this, and then Microsoft's doing something totally different. Just like Nintendo did something totally different this gen.
I don't think Microsoft is doing anything totally different. They're just gonna have an option that's they're future proofing themselves.
Well, if you just have
I'm gonna have the traditional console. That's where I'm headed. If this was if the streaming option was the only option for Xbox this next generation, I would not be with it.
And see, that's the point I'm making right there. Like, for let's just say us, like us, the majority of people, it's 4 of us in here. I don't think any of us are gonna want to buy the streaming option. We'd rather buy either the digital only or the game system.
Well, I'm an enthusiast, so I would buy it. I probably wouldn't.
Yeah, I would have no reason to buy a streaming only console. Like, I wouldn't be interested. There's no.
I definitely would want to see how it works and how it interacts with the other console, or see how.
I mean, $150. It's not about the price.
I'll address something in the chat. Like, a lot of people, they think like, oh, the internet is not going to allow it, the U.S. infrastructure as far as internet is concerned. I'm like,
updating.
Look, what I said about, in 15 years they won't be consoles. Let me reiterate what I mean, since most people's concern is the speed, the latency. If you go back 15, 20 years ago, the fastest internet that you can get through DSL in my area, it started at 750 kbps, and then when you got 1.4 megabits, you thought that you saw Jesus when you got that speed.
Exactly. I was just
We're in 2018, and AT&T's installing fiber gigabit internet right now. You think 20 years from now, I'm gonna look at gigabit Ethernet like it's gonna be,
slow.
750 kbps that I was getting back in 1999. So to say that 20 years from now we're buying consoles, you think that these corporations are going to invest in the research and development and building hardware when they can just stream your games? Nah.
15 years from now, you'll be able to get
you are naive to believe that that's going to happen. Just like you were naive to think that that physical media was going to stick around and that digital hasn't completely taken over. Facts.
I agree. Physical is on its way out. Digital is taking over. We will be digital for everything. Look, I'm gonna give you not to cut you off, Merc. I'm gonna give you a good example. I went to go to the hospital, right? And this totally has to do with what you're saying. I went to go to the hospital, wanted to get my medical records. They gave me it said, "Oh, give you medical records in a day." Came back in a day. They had all my medical records. It was on a little freaking card. It was on a little freaking card. I was like, what the hell is this? Like, I'm expecting like these hard copy medical records. Nope. Oh, put it into your computer, it can download. I was like, what the hell? Like a little thumb drive thing. And I was like, holy crap. So they don't even give you anything hard copy anymore. Everything is scanned into a system and it's kept there. Like, if these databases go down, you lose everything. But the fact of the matter is, like, everything is we're in a digital age. We really are.
Like 20 years ago, we were still like borderline just got DSL. A lot of people still had dial-up. Like,
I know, but
come
I
on,
think though that the best way to play a game is natively on the hardware, especially.
No question.
It's got
Yeah.
the thing is too is that we are in a digital age, so even
Yeah.
cutting the cord and having somebody stream an app to watch TV, somebody starts doing that. You got 3 people in your house doing that, and you want to go play your online stream box, like. You might get tons of 250 megabytes download in your house, but everybody's online.
Right.
That's gonna, it's gonna be an issue.
That's the reason you see these ISPs doubling down, installing fiber like everywhere,
and they're gonna, be like, "Oh, you want a game online? And well, here's our basic 100 megabyte per second." They do it now, and they're like, "Oh, you want to play this?"
It's funny. I can tell some people in the chat they started gaming when Comcast already have 50 megabit down and like 10 megabit up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, man.
Well,
like,
it's even you got to think about it. Like the fact that you can get a master's or a doctorate degree online is a completely new thing. Like you weren't able to do that 10 years from in the past. Like you can get a master's or doctorate degree online. You can do all your college classes online. Like the people got to understand. Like this is definitely the future. You don't have to physically sit in a class with a professor anymore to go to college. You can go to any major college and you can sit there. And you can be on your computer and do all your work. So the fact that, I do agree that 15 years from now, this would be a whole different talk. But I just think for next gen, I think it's a little bit premature to say, the future is our streaming consoles. I
agree. And you know what, Frog, you are right, because look what Microsoft tried to do with the forward thinking with the launch of this Xbox. They came out with too many messages, too many you're going to trade it in here, and Sony said, here's a CD, there you go, and the simplicity won.
Right.
If Sony does that again, going, here's your PlayStation 5, and Microsoft's like, well, here's our streaming box, here's our expensive box, and this works over here, and you can stream it on your app on your phone, and people are going to be like, no, thank you. Give me my traditional box of $400. Thank you very much, Sony, and I'll just take it that way. They're going to make next gen too complicated. They got to be careful. They lost this gen because of that. They were too
I agree with you. I definitely agree with
simplistic. You go simplicity, traditional, not traditional, but you got to go simplistic. You can't have 3 SKUs out there and going, well, we're also going to have our games on your iPhone and on your and talking out your ass like that, because you're going to lose people. They're going to be like, you're not serious about gaming, you want to be in all these
You're
devices.
talking as if the industry have never handled 2 SKUs for this same platform.
Smooth. You saw what 2013 was, man.
I also saw before 2013, both the PlayStation 3 and 360 both had 2 SKUs.
And they didn't come out together though. The 360 was a one-man show. No, what? The 360 had a year.
No, but the same when they released, when the PlayStation in 2006, they had their 2 SKUs. In 2005, Xbox had their 2 SKUs.
Yeah, but they were on their own though. They did not come out competing with each other head to head like they did with this generation.
This generation,
Microsoft could have had 10 SKUs with the 360. It didn't matter. They were the only show in town. I'm talking about when you come out head to head, you better have a clear, concise message, and they did it with this generation. And if they start coming out with we're on the cloud, the stream, you don't own. People will be like, I want to own my games. That shit will come right back to haunt them again. I don't want to own my game. And I'm telling you,
let me ask this question.
People are gonna fight that.
You will own your game. You just need to
let me ask this question.
Depending on what platform you get.
Well, your internet goes down. You don't own your game.
Is it confirmed that they're making?
Well, if you own the streaming, box, then that's different. But technically, if you have the Xbox, you also have access to the.
But that's what
we're talking a different scenario. It's too complicated for people.
But that's what I'm asking. Is it confirmed there's 2 SKUs of the next Xbox?
There's no, nothing's confirmed.
Because my thing is what if they just say, okay, here's our Xbox Scarlet. You can stream, but you can also play natively. I mean, maybe that's what it really is going to be. Mm-hmm. Maybe they just won't have a streaming box. But because I think about it, if they have a streaming box and then they have the Xbox Scarlet,
what I see happening, they probably launch at different times, but in the same year.
So
okay.
That
would probably be a way to go.
And because we talk about this last Xbox, Michael Pachter said he and I agree with him. I do think Xbox wants to come out. I don't think they're going to come out a year ahead of Sony. I think maybe 6 months, but I don't think they're going to get a year spread on it.
I think they're coming out together.
I think they come out very close together, maybe some months apart, but very close together. And I think that if Microsoft is smart, because a lot of people are saying, oh, they're not. I think Sony's coming out next year between October and March of 2020, which is still physical gaming year in 2019. So I think that Sony's going to release next year. So I would say Microsoft is probably going to release next year. I think Microsoft thinks they want to release next year. I think Sony wants to release next year. And people are saying 2020, end of 2020. I see these consoles coming out between October to March of 2020, which is still physical year of 2019. So I've been saying it. Like, I think we're going to see a PlayStation 5 between October and March, because people are thinking, oh, it has to release March or holiday. Shoot, Nintendo released March. Like, nothing we're looking at is the same. Games are releasing in March, February, and January.
And games are releasing on Friday instead of Tuesday.
Right. And so what I'm saying is
right.
And so anything can change. So I do think maybe we see maybe an Xbox next year, maybe September.
Now, my thing is, go ahead.
Then Sony says, oh, we're releasing our PS5 in March of next year of 2020. But neither here nor there, a 5 to 6 months gap, will that give Microsoft an advantage? I don't think so. And I think I agree with you. I don't think it will. And I think that Halo does release next gen and current gen, but I think they're going to release and that everything we've seen at E3, to me, going forward, with the exception of what we know is coming out next year, I think that everything we've seen at E3 that didn't get a date is releasing on current gen and next gen. So when we see Halo Infinite, you'll see it on Xbox One SS and the Scarlet. I think that's when we'll see
I think Infinite will launch next gen for them.
I think, oh man, I think the next generation traditional Xbox and this cloud Xbox, I think they're going to be launching at separate times. And I think one's going to launch fall 2019, and one's going to launch early 2020.
Yeah, I agree.
I just don't know which one's which.
See, I agree with that. I can agree with that. I agree with that. I agree with that.
And maybe launch one with.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I think, or even like the spring of 2020 and then the fall 2020 is.
Yeah, because I could see.
I don't think they'll release together.
I can see them launching their Steam system or their stream system in late 2019, and then when PlayStation launches
on the other consoles,
right? With PlayStation
on the other Xbox.
later in 2020, they released their bigger console close to that time. I could see that. I really could see that. But I also see whenever their next console comes out, Halo. I'm just speaking of just Halo, not Gears, not anything else. I believe whatever Halo game is coming, that Halo Infinite, that's going to be their day one with that console, and you'll be able to play it on your S and X, but you're going to be able to play it on your Scarlet, and that's and PC, of course, but it's just not going to be cross play. I believe that that game is going to be their day one, and just the same with PlayStation. Everything we saw this E3, you'll be able to play on your PS4, but you'll also be able to play on your PS5. When the PS5 is out, 2 months later, you'll be able to play those same games sitting there right in your PS5. I believe that a lot of what we saw at E3 was next gen games. Like they're coming sooner than we think. People are just, oh no, it can't be. People don't understand the traditional life cycle of a console's. Last generation was just a very weird generation because of it was so many different things, the war, economy, so many different things. That generation lasted way too long. The PS4 and the Xbox One should have been out 3 years before that.
I agree.
So my whole thing is like, this generation is going to end, man. People are going to think, well, this is too early. But we're going to go back to that 5 to 6 year life cycle. When you look at what Xbox did, people to forget the original Xbox, when they launched, and they were like, okay, we launched, we got our foot in the door, we got some sales, we want to beat Sony to punch. We launched early. Understand, Microsoft is not really a stranger to like dropping their whole console and moving on to the next. And what I mean by that is they'll launch the next console because they're like, we got to be first in the door. I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft says after E3, hey, our console launches this August, and we're like, holy crap, this August. Microsoft is just known to do things that people don't really expect, and I agree. I think they're going to launch their next console first before Sony, but I guess the difference I look at is with their install base. Is it really going to impact Sony that big? The only thing it would do, and how I look at it is like, it will be great for them to launch against Sony. I want them to do well, but if you got let's just say 45 million by then, let's just say 50 million install base by then. Can you really compete with almost 90 to 100,000 people install base when you don't have the software? Halo's a big pusher. People will buy a console for Halo itself. We all know that. Like, people will buy a console for Halo. So that's a good thing, but then you have to have games after games after games. So these new studios, you may get their new games next year, and they may tell you what they're doing, but those are all next gen games.
Oh, for sure, definitely.
Like look at what Bethesda and Ubisoft were doing. Like a lot of what they showed us, for the most part, at the end of their conferences, were next gen games. Like Doom is going to be a next gen, and I believe that Doom is going to be a next gen game. There's certain games you look at, you're like, damn, like, this is not gonna be in the generation now. And if it is in the generation now, it'll be something you buy, and when you buy the next system, you'll be able to play on. And it's good for everybody because everybody wins. Because if you're an Xbox owner and you can carry your games over, you win. If you're a PlayStation owner, you can carry your games over, you win. But I agree. They will come out first.
All right, though. We about to get ready to get out of here. It's a little bit late. But I do want to thank everybody for showing up. Shout out to nxtgen720. He had to bounce. He had to attend another podcast. That man's a podcastaholic. But
shout out to NextGen.
Shout out to everybody tuning in to episode 53. I hope you guys enjoyed the talk. You guys got any shout outs?
Damn, we're at 53 already?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
All right,
so hit the like button. Hit the like button, man.
Frog, you got anything going on? Anything you want to shout out?
Shout out to Project Octopath once again. If you got a Switch, please go out there and buy it. Like I can't really give the game enough praise. I'm actually back in the No Man's Sky. It was a day one purchase. No Man's Sky I liked it from the get-go, but it's definitely, I feel like with this update, it's definitely a completely different game.
It's really cool.
Me and Jez were playing it last night. Man, like we played, oh my gosh, we were late. We were on there late just going to I'm telling you, man, like this is a game that I can honestly say, if you're an adventurer and you just want to like just go on an adventure, like and you know what, I'm gonna give props to Sea of Thieves here, right? Because if Sea of Thieves had it kind of did what No Man's Skies did with the progression system, like Sea of Thieves would have been the game I played because the game looked well and it had some appeal to it, but it just that progression. Like No Man's Sky has everything that Sea of Thieves really doesn't, and it's progression. It feels like you're actually doing something. It doesn't feel like you're just there, just like And so I will say, like, if anybody who bought Sea of Thieves and really likes it, there's no reason you shouldn't be playing No Man's Skies. Because it's like a very sci-fi better version of No Man's Sky, and that's not putting Sea of Thieves down because there are people who like it, but I just think that people need to get
outros.
Look, all I'm saying is give No Man's Skies a chance and play it, and don't talk shit if you haven't played it. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, Mert.
Yo, thank you everybody for coming out. Make sure you hit that like button. It was fun. Shout out to Next Gen for coming out. And man, good show, man. Good show. Y'all know how to find me.
Most definitely.
Hey, grinds my gears.
Yo, grinds my gears. Just7780. Thanks again. Next Gen. Hit that like button. Follow me over on Twitter, Just7780, and my What Grinds My Gears channel on YouTube.
Yo, shoot, what's gonna be grinding your gears this week?
Nah, I'm taking a break.
Taking a break.
Nah. I don't know, man. I didn't want to do that other one, and I was just like, I had these thoughts, and I was like, I just got to turn on and do it. But yeah, I'm good for now.
All right. And check out Frog. Sorry, not sorry. I think you just did one yesterday, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I jumped on there with them.
Yeah.
Every Tuesday, 7:30.
I gotta jump on one of those, man. I've been crazy.
It's only 3 topics, only 3.
And thank you guys for watching. As always, Xbox is the best box. I am the best spot. Good night or good morning if you're on the other side of the globe. I'm out of here. Peace.